Hello folks, this is Raj Sastry from Raj Option Trading. Today I want to talk about just a weekly recap for the last week. So from a theme perspective, the technology stocks are up. As an example, we have Adobe, Facebook, PayPal, Google, to name a few. And semiconductor stocks are up due to shortage. There's a huge shortage here, so that's why Taiwan Semi, Nvidia, ASML, Applied Material, all these stocks are up. And clean energy stocks are up mainly because Biden wants to make sure we basically go with the clean energy, things like batteries, EV batteries, and whatnot. And metal and mining stocks are up. For example, Cleveland Cliffs was up big last week. And EV battery stocks, electric vehicle battery stocks are up, like ChargePoint, Blink, and Bitcoin stocks are up. For example, Marathon, Canon, these are all up. And bonds are lower. Basically, the ZB, the 30-year Treasury, it's lower. And one huge news last week was a $10 billion investment crashed. This is Archegos Capital. This fund borrowed billions of dollars from Wall Street banks like Viacom, and they invested in Viacom, CBS, Baidu, Tencent, Wipshop, IQ, a bunch of these, internet type stocks and high flying stocks. And because this gentleman from Archegos borrowed so much money and had all the credit swaps and whatnot, the stock itself in a couple of these companies like Viacom crashed so much, and he could not pay back his margin money. So that's why a lot of these stocks, fell off drastically last week, and they're trying to recover at this point, but still way off from their highs. 3D printing stocks, some of them are down, like the DM, Desktop Metal, NNDM, and the recovery stocks like AMC are down because looks like technology stocks are going up. That's why some of the recovery stocks are down. Some healthcare stocks are down. For example, Emergent Bio, J&J. I think they have some vaccine gotchas, and VWE Wave. It's also down. So that's the quick recap. Now we'll go into some of the ETFs and see ETF winners and losers. And before that, let's go into some big, broad themes and take it from there. From a big theme perspective, I will not drain this slide. We'll go pretty quickly here. Um, so S&P 500 itself went pretty well last whole week. S&P 500 made its way up. It's sitting at all-time high at this point. This is a 3-month, one-day chart. Even Dow Jones Industrial Average made its way up for most of the days. Nasdaq, a little bit weaker of the two, but still it managed to go up the last whole week. Russell is trying to get its groove back. It's trying to go up. Bond is down, like we talked about, and energy is kind of flat line. Gold is trying to make its way a little up here, and the dollar itself is kind of flat line at this point. So next we'll look at major ETF very quickly. Same theme here. SPY, DIA, QQQ, all going up, and Russell is also trying to make its way up. TLT, which is the Treasury, 20-year Treasury, it's kind of coming down or flat line. Gold is kind of steady at this point. XLP, big XLP, it's kind of coming down at this point. I think things like Procter and Gamble and some of these stocks are kind of coming down. XLU itself is going up. Anytime bond comes down, TLT and yield also comes down, these guys will go up normally. XLK technology is going up as usual. Semiconductor all the way up. So those are some few trends going on here. Now let's look at relationship between ES, SKU, and VIX. VIX is pretty steady here, as you can see here, or even going low a little bit. And ES, which is S&P 500 in a 5-year chart here, it's all-time high. So I'll be cautious here because it went so much after this huge crash in March. It's almost went crazily up. So I'll be watching this very carefully. Skew, on the other hand, I think that it's coming down a little bit. That's a good sign. Anytime skew goes above 145, you got to be watching out. But right now it's 136, so I think a little bit comfortable at this point. I don't expect a crash at this point because VIX has fallen down a little bit. That's a good sign. It might come down a little bit, like we have here. It might come down a little bit, which is very good. As VIX comes down, market will take a little bit breather, and then it will recharge its battery. VIX itself, it's coming down a little bit. I would be, buying some VIX call options, maybe 120 days out or so that way, if market crashes, VIX can, compensate for it a little bit. Next, we'll go into bond and the rate itself, 10-year rate. So bond is, as you can see here, it made its way all the way down. It's kind of stabilizing at this point. It's trying to make a little bit up, as you can see here. And TNX, the 10-year treasury index, that's coming down a little bit because bond is ticking up, the rates are ticking down. So that's the normal scenario. I would not be worried too much here. And DXY, dollar index, is pretty steady at this point, not an issue. So with that, let's go into some major stocks here very quickly. It's again a 3-month, 1-day chart. Microsoft, Apple is, Microsoft is pretty steady. I think they had some issue around email and Outlook issues, Office 360 type issues, and now they're recovering back again. Apple is kind of, as you can see here, kind of flatline here, trading range. I think we should watch out for Apple. So if it breaks this trading range, it can go up or down. So we got to be watching out a little bit carefully. Amazon is trying to get its groove back now. It's sold off so much in the past. Now it's trying to recover slowly. Facebook is like a rocket ship. It's doing very well. I would be waiting for a pullback. I would not buy at this point. Google is also doing nicely. So is Netflix. And one thing I see here, Home Depot, it's really going up like crazy. I think it's kind of gardening season is coming up. People might buy all the garden supplies. I think this stock is doing very good of late. And Merck, I think it's kind of coming down, trying to recover at this point. No major drugs probably. And I think Visa is also trying to get its groove back after the whole issue with the debt. Now it's kind of trying to come back here. With that, I think let's go into a little more details and look at major ETFs last week. No surprise here. All the broad ETFs last week did very well. On a weekly basis, 5-day, I think almost all of them went up here, except for treasury bonds that are a little bit down for the week. And as you can see here, on a 1-year basis, most of these ETFs, for example, SPY, they are they're at the 52-week high at this point, 1-year high. So I would be watching out. And even QQQ, they're almost at 1-year high. So I think you have to watch out because all these ETFs are almost trading at 52-week high, as you can see here, almost 52-week high here. So I think at this point I would not be buying stock very aggressively. I would be cherry picking a little bit. I'll be looking at stocks which have fallen down so much versus chasing after stocks that have done very well. With that, let's go into ETF winners. We'll quickly go through this. As an example, ENTR, these are all big, cloud, and technology stocks. I think that did very well. And Amplify, it's again, we have Bitcoin stocks, they went well, and semiconductors, like we talked about, went well. The theme is really, um, the technology, and semiconductor, clean energy, they all went up. So, that'll give you an idea, what's kind of going up in the last week's time frame. Now let's go into losers. There are not too many losers here. There are some of these stocks like Indonesia, Pakistan, Japan, even the tail risk ETF. Some of these old trusted type ETFs have fallen down a little bit, not too much. So I will not be worried too much at this point. These are not famous ETFs. These are not so popular. So I would not be worrying too much about this ETF. So with that, from a small cap winners perspective, we got a lot of these stocks here. We got, I will not cover each of them in detail. You can go through them. So Sunworks, as an example, I think stock price is $17. On a weekly basis, it's up 28%. Still, it's down from 52-week high, 42% down, and it's got a high short, float short ratio. So I may be, venturing out a little bit, buy a little bit at this point, even though it's up. I will wait for a pullback. On a pullback, I might, buy some Sunwork, especially because it's got a high, float. Same thing with the MoneyGram. MoneyGram is $7.43 stock, and it's up 24% last week, but on a yearly basis, it's down 36%. I might buy some on pullback, but not otherwise. Now we'll go into small cap losers. There are some of these stocks like, even Genius Brands as an example. These guys do some toddlers videos and kid-friendly videos. Stock is down 29% last week. I might, nibble a little bit. It's a very low price stock, $1.88. I think I might, buy a little bit. Valuation is a little bit high. PS ratio is 308. LiveX Media, ProQR, I think these two also fallen down so much, 29% each. I think it's worth probably nibbling a little bit or buying a little bit and take it from there. Wave Life, same story here. I fell down 19% last week. I would be buying a little bit and keep it for a little bit longer term. GAN Limited, it's again into sports betting. I think this stock also fell off so much. Gemini Therapeutics, BioAtla, Metromile, it's into auto insurance, charging my mile. All these stocks have fallen down so much in a week's time. I think it's worth considering or buying a little bit and take it from there. Same story with LendingClub. I think it fell down 13%. I might nibble a little bit and take it from there. Next, let's look at mid-cap weekly winners. We have a lot of these mid-cap weekly winners. I will be a little bit careful to buy these. Some of these stocks are up so much. As an example, ChargePoint is up 47%, mainly because it had a high short ratio. Now it's kind of unraveling. I will be careful to buy these. I would buy these on a pullback, not otherwise. Same story, Canon, it also went up 20%, Yala Group, Pubmatic, all of these, I think many of these are short squeeze type plays. That's why they went up. I will not be chasing them. I'll wait for these to cool off and then, I might buy. Mid-cap weekly losers, these are some of my favorite stocks. I always love to buy stocks on a pullback. So as you see here, I highlighted some of these stocks in bold here. I might buy some of these because some of these are very good stocks and they've fallen so much. I think it's good to pick some up and go from there. And some of the stocks I have highlighted, short ratio is high, about 10%. And as you can see, even about 20% in 30% in some cases. I'll be watching these charts carefully. If the stock has fallen down and still short ratio is high, I might buy some of these stocks, so expecting them to pick up and create a short squeeze. And some of our favorite stocks like Nano Dimension, which is a 3D play, and even Sorrento, it also came down drastically. Things like Desktop Metal, it's also down drastically from a 1 year. So I might look at some of these things. Even Amdocs, it's a good company. It's fallen down so much last week. I might pick some of those up too. Next is large cap weekly winners. We have a lot of these internet stocks which have done clearly really nicely last week, including semiconductor. At this point, I will not be chasing semiconductor, even though there is a news that semiconductor shortage will last for maybe up to 2022. I will not be chasing these semiconductor names. There is always pullback. I'll be waiting for the pullback. Stocks like Bilibili, XPAV, which is Xpeng, Pinduoduo. I will watch out for these stocks to cool off a little bit. Then I might add a little bit into my position. Next, we'll go into large cap weekly losers. These are some of my favorite stocks. These have fallen down so much because of this Archegos, issue, debacle, the whole margin call issue with this Archegos Capital. I will be willing to buy some of these names here, especially which is hard hit by Archegos, GSX, Viacom, and even IQ, Whipshop. Even Zoom Info, it's not related to Archegos, but still it came down, so much. I'm willing to buy a little bit and give it a chance. Next, we'll go into mega cap winners. These guys are doing really nicely. In the beginning, stocks kind of rotated out of technology. Now it's coming back to technology a little bit. So at this point, I will not be chasing these stocks. As you can see here, many of these stocks are almost near 52-week high, maybe with the exception of Tesla. Tesla, I'll be buyer anytime Tesla falls below 600. I will be nibbling a little bit and going from there. And even Nike, I think they had some, little bit issue last week, but still it's 10% down from 52-week high. I think it's okay to nibble a little bit at this point, but I will not be aggressive buyer. Mega cap weekly losers. As you can see here, we got a lot of good stocks here. I will be looking at stocks like Abbott Labs, Procter and Gamble, Alibaba. Alibaba is an interesting one because I think these guys are into some conflict with the Chinese government. That's why stock is kind of falling off the cliff of late. I'm willing to buy a little bit short, small quantities and take it from there. Walmart, I think these guys had some issue. I think now they're trying to make their way back up a little bit. I'm willing to give it a chance and buy a little bit. Same is the case with MasterCard. So with that, in a summary, these are the stocks. I love buying stocks in a pullback. I'm willing to buy some of these stocks, because they pulled back so hard last week, and some of these are really nice, good companies. I'm willing to buy some of these companies and add to my position. And I might, some of these stocks, they go up and down so much. I might even, buy some, look for a nice, nice gain, and I might sell them in 6 months or 1 year's time. But some of them are good stocks. I might keep it a little longer. So with that, thank you very much. Happy trading.